So we have two people represented here. One is the adult and the three brain states, and the other is the child and the three brain states. What can each brain state do? So if we look at the adult, the survival state says, I can fight, flight, or defend. The emotional state says, I can emote. And the executive state says, I can solve problems. So this is the adult, each saying one thing. Now let's look at the child. The child in the survival state says, oh look, the same thing. I can fight, flight, or defend. Emotional state, same thing as the adult. I can emote. Let's see, same thing. So regardless of whether you're 2, 15, 65, or 35, these states can do the same thing, just at your own developmental level. So let's look what happens when a person is in a certain state. So let's say the child says, shut up. What state are they in? This one. So you guys would go down and flip yours over. And so when the child's in that state, they're saying, connect with me, help me. I'm getting distressed and I don't know how to handle it any other way. But if the adult follows the child and falls into their emotional state, let's see what they are willing to do. I will blame or rescue you. So if the child says, shut up, there's a good chance the adult's going to say, don't you talk to me like that ever again. So in this case, the child is going, connect with me, and the adult is going, no way. So there's a good chance that the child is going to slip down into their survival state and ask, well, if you can't connect with me, will you at least keep me safe? Please keep me safe. And it could be that the adult follows that energy, goes down and says, no, I'm not going to keep you safe, but I will punish you. You will go to your room, or I will abandon you. That's it. Get away from me. You're going down to the principal's office. No one talks to me like that. Go. Just go. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's take another one. So turn them back where we were. So let's say, I'm going to give some example. The adult says, students, it's time to line up for lunch. The adult says, students, it's time to line up for lunch. Walk safely to the door. What state is the adult in? Yep. Oh, she says, I can solve problems, and what are you willing to do? Well, I'll help you if you have any problems too. So I'm asking you to walk to the door, and if you have any mishaps along the way, I will help you with that. But the students remain seated with their head down, not moving at all in the classroom. So what state is the child in? Nonverbal, there we go. So this child is in this state. I can fight, flight, or defend, which means I'm just going to surrender and withdraw. But the adult is here, says, that's okay. That's okay, because I will help you. All right, makes sense? Okay. However, if that teacher got triggered by that, come on now, let's go, come on, heads up, let's go. I can't leave you in this room. We've got to go to the cafeteria. I cannot leave you. Don't just sit there. Let's go. I'm talking to you. Look at me. Look at me. I am talking to you. Then the adult is in this state and is willing to blame you or rescue you, which might pull you up, because these energies want to synchronize. So it might pull the child slightly from here up to here, and the child says, but will you connect with me? And because you're not, they might just then go, well, screw you. Screw you. So now we get a verbal fight. Let's take one more. Now, let's take a baby. So the baby, now this little child is a baby, and they point to an object and they go, ah, 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 ah. What state do you think they're in? Yes, that baby says, I can solve problems if you teach me. And if the adult says, oh, you wanted the doll, the adult says, well, I can help you with that. I'll teach you. You wanted doll. Say doll, doll, doll. And the baby might go, and there you go. We've solved the problem because you said, I can solve problems. And you're willing to be taught because you said, I can solve problems too. The point of this is that a child cannot be in a higher state than the adult is. Often we want to stay in our emotional state and go, I said calm down, you better calm down now. And we're saying, I'm going to be in this state, but I want you to pop up to this state. I don't know how you're going to do it with me screaming at you, but you better do it or it's going to get worse for you. So the point is, we must stay in our executive state. We must help children get to their executive state. And that way, we can teach children how to developmentally grow in their social and emotional skills. If we follow them down, we will make it worse for ourselves and for the children. One of the things we want to practice is just understanding and knowing what state we might be in and what state the child might be in. So what we know is that when a child is in an executive state, they are willing to solve problems. They're willing to be taught. When a child's in an emotional state, generally they're verbally name calling, shut up, I hate you. They're in a distressed state. This is generally physical aggression. They're pushing, shoving, or they're crunched down and they're unresponsive, withdrawn. So I'm going to give you some examples, and if you're online, you're going to stand up. If you're offline, you're going to bend over. So this particular adult or child says, I hate you, shut up. So as you can see, Nicole here representing the executive state is offline. And this is what you're dealing with. A child's impulsiveness, insecurities, and mouth. We call it being mouthy. All right? So let's see this one. This child just takes a chair and throws it. Nicole's offline. Emotional state is offline, and this is what we're dealing with, a physically aggressive child. And if we try to hold them, of course, they're going to fight with us at first. All right, let's try another one. The adult says, it's time to line up. Table 1, come to the door. We got it all. This child says, someone pushed them, child says, I don't like it when you push me, walk around. Oh, in this situation, a child pushes and they go, stop it, stupid. Oh, so now we've got one, we're in the emotional state, verbally aggressive, verbally excluding others. Okay, now this child gets pushed and they go, bam! There you go. And that's how it works. The important part is to understand what state you're in and what state the child's in, because when we find ourselves in this state, we want to take a deep breath, calm down a little, say to ourselves in our head, I'm safe, keep breathing, I can handle this. Turn off that noise in our brain so that this state can come back on, and then we can wish the child well and we can talk from our executive state. And then we want to teach children, if they find themselves in this state, to take a deep breath, wish others well so they can get to this state, so that teacher and child, parent and child, can solve their problems. So one of the things that you want to do is help a child or an adult go from this state up to this state. So in this case, this is going to be a child that I'm going to be helping. So when we identify what state they're in, then we can help them move up to get to their executive state. Now, this right here is the pause. It represents the need to be a star. So when you get into a survival state, there's a lot of adrenaline. That's that aggressive state. It's also the completely withdrawn state. And the withdrawn state has to go from withdrawn to the energy to move on up. So what we're going to do is, if we find ourselves in a survival state, we want to build connection because we're coming up and integrating our brain. So let's say a child takes it and throws a chair. So they take their arms and go like this. The first thing we want to do is notice, because noticing is a skill that invites eye contact and elicits connection. So we would say, your arms went like this. They will not look at you when they do that. So let's have you just do that. Like you throw a chair, and don't look at me. Okay, your arms went like this, your foot went like this. See? She looks. So as soon as she looks, then I'm going to download. So all of us here, and you watching, let's all take a deep breath, smile. You pause here, you give this time, you give this energy to bleed off a little. So they're looking right at me. As soon as they look, I'm going to download. Then I'm going to go, you seem angry. You wanted to work on your journal more. Now, what I did here that's very important, these two go boom, 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 boom. You seem angry. You wanted to work on your journal. You seem frustrated. You were hoping you could get that math problem right the first time. They have to come together. What we tend to do, especially as women, is we just leave it here. You seem angry. And then you leave them in an emotional state, and they're going, yes, I was angry, and she cheated here, and she took that, and I could have done it, but they were talking over there, and then this, and you're just leaving them there, and they're like, oh my gosh, I call it doo-doo land. So you don't want to put, if you're trying to solve a problem, you don't want to place children in doo-doo land. However, to solve a problem, you must cross this bridge called emotions. Just naming it makes the regulation process begin. So it would go, you seem angry. You want it. And if you don't know what they wanted, you stop there. You seem angry. You wanted the phone? You take your best guess. Just like the baby goes, oh, you want the ball? And they go, oh, you wanted the blanket. And they go, So they will correct you if you're wrong. Point, don't stop here. Point 2, take your pause here. Let's try a couple activities. Child says, shut up, stupid. So there you go. We're going to start here. We don't need to start here because this is the state they're in. So we're going to go, you seem angry. You wanted her to be quiet while you're working. Notice I did not go, you seem angry. What's going on? No, you seem angry. You wanted, you pause there, they might go, well, she was talking and I couldn't work. Oh, you wanted her to be quiet while you're working. I get it. Let's try one from down here again. So the child stomps and slams the door. Okay, say this with me. Where do we go? Your
arms went like this, your feet went like that, and your face.
And as soon as they look, slow it down, slow it down. See, right now you got a lot of adrenaline. Everybody wants to hurry through this. No, slow it down. Slow down. You seem angry. You were hoping it was time for lunch. This process is called the DNA process. Describe, notice, name the feeling, acknowledge what the child wanted. That will get them up to their executive state so that they are willing to solve a problem. How would we increase compliance of a child who's in an emotional state or survival state, with the goal of bringing them up here first, then increasing compliance. Here's what it would look like. So we're going to take an example. I'm going to say, turn your math books to page 32. This particular child is just going to kind of disappear like this. Kind of goes off into space. So what state is that if they just kind of disappear, go off and dissociate? So we start here. So we go, your face is going like this. Your eyes are glazed like this. As soon as they look, we slow it down. As soon as she looks, we breathe. You seem overwhelmed. You were hoping that we could read longer and avoid math altogether. Then quickly we're going to go right back down here in case they slide on us. You have a choice. You can start on the first two problems, or you can start down here at the bottom on the last two problems. Which would be best for you? You can work them by yourself, or you can get help from your friend Liz. Which would be best for you? So what we do is, same thing, we start down here, we go boom, we breathe, boom, 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 and then boom. So it goes boom, boom, boom. Let's try that again, that's the rhythm of it. So we describe kind of slow, calm, slow it down. Then we go boom, 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 just like that. In addition to increasing compliance, this is also how we would solve problems. So let's say we have a conflict that needs to be solved. We would still start here if this is the state the child's in. We would notice your arm is going like this, your hand went like this. We slow it down with our breath. You seem angry. You wanted her to move forward. And then when we're solving problems, then we might say, well, did you like it when she pushed you? And then you say, well, no. We'll say, I don't like it when you push me, stand behind me. Or we might, what would help you solve this problem? Or we might say, how could you solve this one? So solving the conflict is in here. The choices stop children from sliding back down on you with compliance. But it's the same process. We like to try to solve problems in an emotional state. Well, he had it first. I wanted it, but no, she took it. I brought that from home. Okay, it seems like we have a problem. What could we do? I could have it first and you could die. Well, no, let's think of one that's a nice problem-solving way. Let's do something nice. Well, I'm not letting him have it because he brought it from home. And it's like you're trying to solve it here, and you get into all that, and then you go, that's it. If I have to speak to you, both of you, both of you, both of you, hear me, both of you will go to the principal. I'm done. Or we try to solve a problem here, where they're kind of pushing and shoving, and we're kind of grabbing them and pushing and dragging them and pushing them, and no one's talking. You can't solve a problem here. You can't solve a problem here. You can solve problems here in this state. So what I've done is making a model of the brain, and in this executive state, the brain has the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. So in this case, Nicole's going to represent the right hemisphere of the executive state, which means that the brain is all integrated up. When you're in your executive state, everything's wired and looking good. This is Suzanne is going to be the left prefrontal lobe. She's going to be the left side of our brain in executive state. Now, we can wire the brain up with our DNA process this way. But we have to make sure we hook it this way so they're ready to solve a problem. So generally speaking, the right hemisphere, the right prefrontal lobe, is a complainer. Not emotionally upset like the emotional state, not throwing a physical fit or withdrawing like in the survival state, but just complaining. Why in the world did they put flowers on these walls? My gosh, look at this rug. Would you put this in your house? I wouldn't put this in my house. Would you put it in yours? Would you put it in your house? This rug is nasty. Okay, that's just a normal day for the right prefrontal lobe. Oh, look at the traffic. Can you believe the traffic? The traffic. Oh, geez, the traffic. So The right prefrontal tends to see what's wrong and is a little complaining. The left prefrontal lobe tends to see what's right and is a little more joyful. So if we want these two to work together, we flip it for the child. The child says, say, I don't like math.
I don't like math.
Oh, so you wanted to do something else. I flip it from the negative to the positive and hook them together. Say, well, why can't we just have longer recess?
Why can't we have longer recess?
Oh, you wanted to stay out and play a little longer? That way they're ready. Let's be a parent. And it's like, you know, we have so much homework at night that our family has no time. Say that to me.
We have so much homework at night. Our family has no time.
So you were hoping to get some connection time in the evening because you work such long hours and want to be with your child. And they're like, well, yes. Well, let me show you how to get that homework done and get that connection done in this much time. You interested? Yeah. All righty. So it's important to flip from what you don't want to what you do want before attempting to solve a problem. So I would say, he pushed me. Oh, you wanted her to move. You didn't know the words to use. Say, move, please. As opposed to, why'd you hit her? What were you hitting her about? Of course, that knocks them off. Now we're talking to you. Why'd you hit her? What's wrong with you? Why do you keep hitting these kids? Well, she's offline too, so been on down. Now this one kicks me. All right, that's it. You're going to the office. So it's important that we flip from what we don't want to what we do want before we solve the problem, which integrates. The DNA comes this way, the you wanted or you were hoping does this, and now any problem that's presented to us is solvable.